The Kick and Makeup MMA show is brought to you by Neon Energy Drink. Light it up.
Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Can I kick it? Yes, you can. Well, I'm going. Go on, then. Can I kick it?
What's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Kick and Makeup Show. I'm your host, the American Hybrid. With me, as always, the other host, Jeremy J.D. Dorsey, and we are live from Analog Arcade Bar, 302 Brady Street, Davenport, Iowa, our new home. And we are also sponsored by Neon Energy Drink, www.neonenergydrink.com. And JD, why don't you tell them a little bit about what Neon's all about?
Kick and Makeup would like to introduce our audience to our newest sponsor, Neon Energy Drink. Neon Energy Drink has everything you need. It gives you energy that lasts with no crash. Has natural sugars from 24% fruit juice. Most others have no fruit juice. You know the others. I don't even have to name them. Do a little research and you'll see what I saw. Neon Energy Drink is blended for energy and antioxidant support by including 6 essential B vitamins, which account for over 100% of your daily value. Neon Energy Drink has 100 milligrams of caffeine from green tea extract, which is a natural form of caffeine, not something created in a science lab. It also supports a healthy metabolism by keeping energy levels higher for longer. Like I said, Neon Energy Drink has everything you need and also has nothing you don't. Each 8.4 ounce can has no taurine, no guarana, no dairy, no gluten, low sodium amounts, and only 100 calories. And guess what, folks? It glows, which just increases the cool factor. And FYI, it glows under black light because of the natural B vitamins, so it's definitely safe. Now, for more information on how to purchase or even promote the first ever top shelf energy drink, contact Courtney by going to glowenergy.neonenergyclub.com. Again, that's glowenergy.neonenergyclub.com. Neon Energy, light it up.
All right, and like I said, we are here again, Analog Arcade Bar. Man, I love this place.
I do too, man. Like it just feels right every time I walk in. It just, everybody's so cool. Everybody wants to, see what's going on. It's kind of cool to have people walking around in the background asking us about what we're doing. So, it's a great place, great venue. Big shout out, big thanks to them, and also everybody at Neon.
And come out here definitely this week and next week. They are running a toy drive. As you know, Christmas is coming up. They've got some good specials going on. If you come in, donate a toy, donate toys, play some video games, have a couple beers, have some Christmas cheers.
Yeah, I was gonna say at least I know when I was younger, I got a chance to play some of these video games and stuff, whether it was at home or back at the arcades at home. So why not come and give that bring that gift and also be able to rekindle your childhood a little bit. I mean, how couldn't you do that at Christmas time?
It's easy. Man, so we have to dive in. Actually, we're not going to dive in. We're going to get the particulars out of the way first. This is www.kickandmakeup.com. This is not www.kickandmakeup. This is Kick and Makeup. Our website is www.kickandmakeup.com. I got a lot on my mind right now. I'm so excited about this whole show today.
I was going to say, we got a lot of particulars to run through,
going through my head right now. Check us out on our Facebook group page. Add yourself in. We're on Twitter. Twitter was blowing up this weekend.
It was.
For sure. At Kick and Makeup is the show's. At Hybrid MMA is mine. We've got Instagram. We've got YouTube. We've got maybe Periscope coming up. About
nice.
Time to get into that a little bit. And man, like it was a huge week of fights. It was a huge week of fights, and this is fight week again. But before we get to what is coming up in the UFC, man, we've got a lot to break down from this weekend.
Yeah, we got a lot of review, a little bit of crow to eat, but we were also right on some things too. So it was a fun weekend, man, an incredible weekend for fights and for the UFC.
Yeah, so let everybody know that has not watched this before. We break this show down. Yes.
Before we forget, big shout out to everybody, all 4,000 of you who checked out our show last week. So big shout out to you guys.
Is it 400?
No, not 400. No.
Oh,
4,000.
4,000.
Yes. A lot of zeros.
Like
So
those zeros.
we're going to try to keep that going.
Thank you guys.
But we can't do that without you guys. So make sure you continue to check us out. KickandMakeUp.com. Yeah, I know.
KickandMakeUp.com. We got to step it up with 4,000 views
I know. But fortunately, we got a lot of stuff planned.
Yeah, a ton of
whole
stuff,
bunch of
man.
things coming up. Hopefully, some stuff happening in January to start us off in 2016 the right way. So they're going to get their money's worth. And considering it's free, they should be happy.
Get your money's worth every time when it's free, right?
Yep.
So this is how we break the show down every week. We've got the high kick of the week, which is what we feel is the best thing going on right now in MMA. We've got the low kick, which is obviously the worst thing going on right now. And then we've got the That's Some BullKick session, where we just rant and rave about something crazy and stupid that went on this week, just outside the box, where we just want to just kind of talk some shit, talk some bull kick, and that's how it goes, man. Then we're going to preview UFC on Fox. That's coming up on Saturday, right after that. So I think that, man, let's just dive right in, man.
I'm ready.
We all know what the high kick is. Everybody knows what the high kick is. And actually, we've given 2 high kicks this week, and we're going to start with the obvious first one. Conor McGregor, 13-second KO win over Jose Aldo this Saturday at UFC 194. Fastest in the UFC in a title fight. Wow. I mean, this is the look on my face when that happened.
Yeah, I think that was a look that just about everybody had at that point in time.
Nobody said anything at our table watching it. We just all I mean, there was some uncomfortable laughs. There was some, like, confusion.
Yes.
There was just a lot of jaw dropping. And, I mean, how was it for you, man?
I think the confusion was there for me because I saw him connect with his shot while simultaneously getting knocked out, and I didn't know what to say. I was like, is it over? Is it over? I needed to see a replay. I'm thankful for the UFC commentators for breaking down exactly what happened, because I was still confused and shocked when it went down. But Conor McGregor was able to land that shot. Aldo was able to also land a shot while knocked out.
A huge shot.
A big shot, knocked out. I don't think I've seen that one before. I mean, on the way down, you land a shot right to someone's jaw. So it's like, man, I wish he would have stayed awake.
Yeah. I mean, and that's the thing too. It's a good stoppage once you see it play out again on the replay. Everybody always says, was it too soon? He followed with 2 giant hammer fists afterwards. He was already out cold, from that shot. But that's a lot of controversy too. A little bit. There's gonna be those people that are gonna say, it was a flash knockout and it was a title fight with all this hype. You should have gave it some more time, maybe. But I don't agree. He was out cold when he hit the mat. So unexpected though.
Yeah, and watching it live, I felt like it was stopped a little quickly.
Yeah.
But once I saw the replay and once I saw the hammer fist, I realized that it was a good stoppage. And yeah, it was a flash knockout. I mean, it's something that's gonna happen, but man, where's my crow at? I gotta eat it. Can't really complain about Mr. McGregor anymore at this point.
You can't.
He's the real deal, so.
And that's what everybody's talking about today too. People wanted him to lose, not because they hate him or anything, but because he talked so much shit going into this, but he was right. But he proved himself right. He said it was going to be the first round. He said it was going to be by knockout. He said Jose wasn't going to have anything for him. The fight didn't go long enough to really put any of Jose's kicks to the test. And that's fine. I mean, that's fine. That couldn't be any better for Conor McGregor.
You can't fault a guy for knocking someone out.
No.
All of us wanted to see a longer fight. Each and every person watching that wanted to get their money's worth. But you had somebody who landed that perfect shot. And I don't think it was, like I heard somebody compare it to hitting a home run in a World Series. I don't think it was that. I think it was a solid shot. And like he said, his comment, I don't remember exactly what it was, but the precision and timing comment and all that stuff like that, that's exactly what it was. And you can't really be mad at this guy at this point. He's out here destroying people, and he was able to destroy somebody who is, like we said last week, arguably a top 5 fighter of all time.
Right.
And when you do it in that sort of convincing fashion, nobody can really complain. So it's kind of hard for me to sit here and have to reel my prediction back a little bit. But yay, it's what happened. And I don't think, personally, I don't think that I would want to see a rematch in that fight either.
Well, I was kind of thinking about that today because you have to rematch. You have to have a rematch. If you're going to give Ronda Rousey a rematch with her fight, I feel like you have to give Jose Aldo. He was more, and going off the reasoning that the UFC said, you can't not give Ronda Rousey one because she was such a dominant champion. She was such a the face of the UFC. So if you're going by that, then Jose Aldo was a champion for 5-6 years longer than she was. His resume is longer than hers is. No, he didn't star in Fast and the Furious 900, but he's been more of a dominant champion and more of a longer champion. Fought better competition, I feel like, than Ronda Rousey has. So if you're gonna give Ronda one, you have to give Jose one. And so what do? Do you do a UFC 200? Main event Conor McGregor, Jose Aldo 2, co-main event Home Rousey 2.
Your logic makes 100% sense, but I'm gonna disagree. When you get beat, when you get annihilated the way that he did, well, I can't really say annihilated.
I was gonna say he didn't get annihilated.
when you get knocked out the way he did, I just have this feeling that it's gonna be that way the next go around too. I'm not interested in seeing that happen or seeing the same thing happen over 3 rounds as opposed to initially in the fight. I think that's what it's going to be, and I have to humble myself to say this because I'm not the biggest McGregor fan, but I think that he's going to do the same sort of thing again, whether it's round 1, whether it's round 3, whether it's round 5, the same sort of result is going to happen.
I'm going to go off of that I want to see how many leg kicks he can take. I want to see that was not Jose at his best. In a championship fight, I want to see both fighters at their best. We saw Conor at his best. We saw that left hand. It's disgusting. That's what landed. We didn't see Jose at his best. So I still want to see a Jose Aldo Conor McGregor fight. I don't feel like I saw a Jose Aldo Conor McGregor fight on Saturday. I feel like I saw Conor McGregor knocking out Jose Aldo, which is not what I want to see. And I want it one more time. I want to see it one more time. And if McGregor wins again, that's it. It's done, 2-0. But if Jose wins, you got to go a rubber match. I want to see a fight still. I don't feel like I'm gonna pout. I don't think that was fair. I didn't get my fair fight. I still think that McGregor cannot withstand the kicks, but Aldo has to get to that point to be able to kick him. And if he's gonna run out in the middle of the cage and just start throwing blows with McGregor, he's gonna lose. You're gonna lose in a stand-up fight with McGregor. So then go back to the drawing board and figure out a way to work angles and then get a kickoff or something. Don't just run in the middle like they did and both start swinging because you're gonna lose.
And that's part of my thing too. I don't know where you change up your strategy if you're Jose Aldo. I don't know what you decide to do that's going to be different that doesn't result in the same sort of thing, whether you end up stretching it out a little bit or whether you end up having the exact same thing happen. I think the result is almost inevitable at this point. But going back to what you were saying previously, UFC 200, the way it all depends on what the UFC wants to do and how much they want to stack that card, because they could ridiculously stack that card. And if there was a time where you could do 6 fights that are main event worthy, it'd be that card. Yeah. And I kind of want to see that. At least 5. You could go 5 deep. You could easily go 8 deep. But I would say, that whole main card usually have 5 fights, 4 or 5 fights for the main card. So I can imagine that main card being completely stacked with main event worthy fights.
Right.
Sort of ending with either the home Rousey 2 or McGregor Aldo 2.
Here's why. The only reason why that might not happen is because Conor McGregor was talking about going up to lightweight leading up to this fight. At the press conferences, he was saying that there has been some talk that he may want to fight the winner of Cerrone and dos Anjos on Saturday.
Yeah, he mentioned that himself, didn't he?
Right, he did. So if he does that and wins the flyweight belt, or the featherweight, won the featherweight belt, will he have to relinquish that to go fight, or will they let him have 2 titles for a while? That's marketable, and then he'll give up the belt. that's why he's kind of in the control of his own destiny right now. He's kind of telling the UFC what's going to happen, as opposed to everybody else where the UFC tells him, if Conor wants to fight the winner of Cerrone, which has already gotten he's talked shit to both Dos Anjos and Cerrone, so there's already like bad blood going into that fight, and it's not even his division. So we just have to sit back and wait now, about a couple weeks to a month, and see what they do with it, and then go from there. But I don't think there's any, that's obviously the high kick of the week. We are going to share it with one more guy, Frankie Edgar, in the night before, so UFC Fight Night. Same not pretty much the same, but same ending, a little bit longer. Frankie Edgar with a huge knockout win over Chad Mendes. That's right, same thing, man. Drop to the knee, big knockout. So you've got two guys, going in there, big fights. Same division too. So does now, I know Frankie said he wants McGregor. He deserves McGregor, but is McGregor gonna be even in that division to go get it? Does Frankie have to fight for the interim belt again? Do they do another interim belt? There's a lot going on in the featherweight division right now.
It really leaves a lot of questions, considering what McGregor is gonna do. I think that's the definitive question right there. It all sort of depends on what he does, and it's going to have this big trickle-down effect on the rest of both of those divisions. I'm not too keen on him moving up. I would love to see him continue to dominate the division that he's currently in. I think that if you're the UFC, you probably want him to stay in that division. You don't really, I think it is marketable, but I mean, he's about as big in the sport right now as he's gonna get. I don't really think that holding two belts is gonna make him more of a star. I think it's just sort of another notch on his belt, and I can't knock him for wanting that, but I think it's gonna be a little bit different when you jump up in that weight class, because you might be walking around at that weight class there, but you're getting guys that are, having to cut 20 to 25 pounds just to get to that weight. So I don't know how much he normally walks around at and how much he's going to be able to not have to worry about cutting. And I know that's a little bit of a stress reliever on his part, but I don't know. I think he's going to step up into some guys who can hit a little bit harder that he may not be expecting. And I know that he's a good fighter, but I don't think that his talent is going to be strong enough to overcome that weight difference that he's probably going to run into once he moves up.
Yeah, I agree too. You know that you're in charge of a lot when the division has to kind of wait to see what you're going to do. And that's what the division has to do right now. He's obviously not thinking about that right now. He may be just enjoying himself, sitting back, kicking back, watching the new fights coming on this weekend, and just enjoying him and his pile of money that he posted up yesterday for his $500,000 in 13 seconds or whatever stupid amount of money he won.
And I don't want to glance over how impressive Edgar was in that fight. I had Mendes going into that one. Yeah. Another pile and played a crow for me, but had Mendes going in that one, and Edgar came in and outclassed him and showed the power at the end and knocked him out. So you got to hope that he's able to be able to get into that marquee matchup. He's always been that type of fighter who hasn't always had those opportunities. Right. So yeah. I'm kind of rooting for him at this point. I want to see him fight McGregor.
I can't see that happening before UFC. Well, would you think they would do a fight around St. Patrick's Day again? A McGregor around St. Patrick's Day again?
Yeah, in Ireland. Because he had said that he had been planning, or him and the UFC were talking about him doing a fight in Ireland. So
he did it before. It was very huge. Would that, would they want to jeopardize him potentially losing to ruin 200? Are they going to have him sit out like they're having home do with their belt for 6 months?
I think they're going to take that same approach as they've taken with the Rousey home. They don't want to risk anything at this point.
No.
And it's kind of messed up because we have a lot of potential fights that could be happening, but everything is going to be put on hold and preserved in these little boxes until we get to 200.
Right. We've got to also give an honorable mention. The co-main event of the night, Luke Rockhold, huge win over Chris Weidman for the UFC Middleweight title.
More crow.
Man.
Jesus.
Man. You know,
They had Weidman looking like Quasimodo at the end of that fight.
Yeah, that's what we were saying too. What the hell? Well, that's what happens when you take 500 elbows at the end of the fight. You know, that was unexpected as well, to watch Chris Weidman go out and lose how he lost. I didn't have it in my mind that he wasn't gonna win or lose. I mean, I thought he would win. If he lost, I definitely didn't see him losing by that. I mean, just getting completely dominated. You know, 30 hits maybe at the end before the ref stopped it. I mean, it was. And
then let alone it, but before the round before, at the end of that round, I'm like, stop it, stop it, stop it, stop the fight, stop the fight.
For me,
stop
it just says too, and we'll talk about that later with, you know, the inconsistencies in refereeing. I would never want to be that. But God, they're so far apart in some fights. You know, one hit, they stop it real quick. The next fight, they let 30 go. It looks real suspect when you do that. Looked like they wanted Weidman to kind of pull it out of this one. I don't know why. You know, they don't want Rockhold as the champion. But I went into this knowing that he was the harder hitter of the two. But I didn't think that. I thought Weidman was going to be able to do more on the ground, and he just laid on his back and took it. And I don't think anybody saw that coming. But we've got a new champion now, Luke Rockhold, and he's going to be a tough one to beat.
He is. Like you were saying with Weidman going into that, I kind of had a little bit of a feeling that Weidman was going to come in and be able to be stronger than Rockhold, but that completely wasn't the case. And like you said, he just laid on his back and took it. And you sort of expect somebody who's a world-class wrestler to break out those wrestling skills at some point, but I guess Rockhold's strength was able to overcome those wrestling skills. And that's the one thing that I love about fights, is that you have guys who, or I should say, the one thing I love about mixed martial arts is that you have guys who are talented at one thing, and you can sort of say, oh, this guy's a wrestler, he's a striker. Then you have those guys who are a little bit, or are good at a little bit of everything, but you can never sit on paper and write it out and say, okay, wrestler always beats striker, or striker always beats wrestler. There's always that intangible part of fights that you just don't know. And this is one of those fights where you come in and you say, Weidman is world-class wrestler. You know, we seen him beat up somebody like Davenport, who is, I would think, is a stronger fighter than Rockhold.
Right.
And you see him in this fight, I mean, completely get destroyed for, 3 rounds at least?
And that was why I said, and we go back and check, I've got Weidman, but I don't know why. Because part of my brain was saying, it's not going to be Weidman. You don't know why, because you know that Rockhold's just as capable of getting this win, too. But, yeah, and I don't know why I didn't, we always do that Monday morning when you say, I should have picked this one, and, at the end of the day, the better fighter, one of the two, that's Rockhold. Already talking about his next fight was the fight before that, the Yoel Romero versus Jacare Souza. Romero got the win over Souza. I don't agree with that.
Yep.
I had Souza winning in the decision round. They end up giving it to Romero, and I thought they did that because a Romero and Rockhold fight is going to be more enjoyable to watch. Coming from a fan that wants to see action than a Jacare Rockhold. We've seen Jacare Rockhold already in Strikeforce, so maybe they didn't want to do that. I don't know if there's that much behind the
planning,
scenes behind it, but Yoel Romero and Rockhold are going to go and chip away at each other more than Souza and Rockhold are. So I guess that, I don't know if that's what did it, but I thought it was pretty clear that Souza won. 2-1.
I did too. That initial first round was, incredible for Romero, and the amount of strikes that he landed, and to see Souza get up at the end and wobbly and sort of all over the place. I thought that Romero was going to be able to dominate the fight, but those second and third rounds, man, just seeing Romero, which is classic Romero at this point, gas out like he always does.
Yeah.
I don't think that he stands any sort of chance against Rockhold.
No.
I mean, unless it's a flash KO that happens early on, which he has that type of ability.
Yeah.
So if it goes past a round, if you were able to wager on a fight, if it goes past that first round, I would think it's almost 100% goes into the Rockhold category to pull out that victory. So it would be an interesting fight to watch, though, but I don't think it's going to be that much of a challenge for Rockhold.
Right. So, lots going on this weekend. Obviously, it's tough when you got to pick maybe 1 or 2 fights for the high kick, 1 or 2 fights for the low kick, because there was so much going on. I gave an extra fight of the weekend also on this show today, and you guys gotta let me know what you think. Tony Ferguson with the win over Edson Barboza, and I've got it as potentially the fight of the year. That was probably one of the most entertaining fights I have seen. They've got to do something with Tony Ferguson now. I can't imagine. I mean, what is that, 10 wins in a row, I think now. A big win over Edson Barboza, and Barboza looked great. There was a couple, whizzing times he did his spinning back kick that just kind of went over his head, and it just was, I don't know, man. But Ferguson looked tremendous again. Somersaults into the knee bars. I mean, and he was landing those too. He was somersaulting in and hooking onto the leg. So he's one of those amazing fighters that's not getting enough push. When they're pushing people like the Sages and Paiges and those guys, and they're not pushing the Tony Fergusons, I'm just befuddled, man.
Yeah, befuddled. Word of the show. About time you got it.
Yeah, I got it.
But yeah, just seeing that fight, I mean, totally fight of the year. Probably, definitely the best one that I've seen this year. Just seeing Ferguson, and a lot of people probably would think that it's sort of unorthodox or what the hell is he doing, but if you watch his fights, that's what he does. And just to see him take as many shots as he took, dish out as many shots as he did, like just watching, I watched the fight 3 times, had to watch it, but the thuds that you would hear from the impacts that he was landing to Barboza, I mean, it was ridiculous. And to see both guys bloodied up by the end, completely unafraid to take shots, and these are huge shots that they're taking, and it's one of those fights that make you appreciate the sport. And yeah, you gotta wonder why Ferguson isn't being pushed anymore, and just seeing what Barboza did too. He's a world-class fighter too. It was one of those fights where he got the loss, but I didn't feel like he had a poor showing or anything like that.
Right. And so I feel like how we said before, even with so many fights at the end of the year, I feel like they got everybody done and fought by the end of the year. Now they can kind of go back to the drawing board, and maybe 2016 will be more of a Tony Ferguson year. They kind of realize that they've got to do something. They've got us talking about him. They've got everybody talking about him. He's winning these big fights. If he gets fight of the year, you've got to do something with him. They've been doing pretty good, the UFC, listening to the fans and giving the fights that people want to see. So I would assume that something like that's coming up soon. Okay, so that's all the high kicks, the good stuff of the weekend.
Shift gears a little bit.
Yes. So like we said, the low kick is what we felt like were the things that just didn't go right. Just didn't go right for some fighters, and we'll keep with UFC 194 and say the Gunnar Nelson loss to Demian Maia was, I think, not a low kick for Demian Maia, obviously, but it was definitely a low kick for Gunnar Nelson. He had a lot of hype going into that fight. With the win too, he could have put himself in the, like we said before, number 5, number 4 position very easily. But man, he didn't do anything in that fight. And that says a lot. I mean, I guess we forget that he's fighting Demian Maia. And I said during the fight too, it's kind of like you and your brother are jiu-jitsu guys, and your brother's 10 years older than you, and you're really good too, but your brother's just a better version of you, and he's older than you, and in jiu-jitsu, age really doesn't matter either. Matters less than it does maybe in striking. And I just felt like it was a clinic. It was like a big brother taking his little brother to the clinic and just stalemating him. He didn't let Gunnar do a thing. And so, what does that leave Demian Maia? Where does that leave Gunnar Nelson now? I don't know. What do you think, man?
Yeah, I'm not sure. As far as Nelson goes, I don't know exactly where he goes from here. He was kind of on the edge of the rankings and stuff, and it's kind of hard to move up in a loss. So I'm guessing they're going to just have to sort of go back to the drawing board a little bit with him. But I don't know where you go with Maia either because, you know, he's an older fighter at this point in time. I don't really think that he's as marketable as some of the other guys in his division, but Jesus, man, just to see him completely outclass Gunnar Nelson, who is a incredible fighter in his own right. But yeah, like you said, it was like big brother versus little brother, and just to see the amount of punishment that Nelson took and the amount that Maia was dishing out and just completely grinding somebody into a pile of dust by the end of that fight. And it was a clinic. It was a 100% clinic. Like, you want to see somebody who is I feel like I throw this around a whole lot, but he's a top 2 to 3, 1, 2, 3 jiu-jitsu guy in the entire world. Right. Like, just seeing that, and you have to wonder if that strength is so strong that he would be able to, make his way up in the division even more.
And I think I forgot that too.
Yeah, you do.
And I think I need those type of fights to be reminded to watch that. Even I get caught up in the hype trains too.
Of course.
Gunnar Nelson too. I got caught up in the hype train of Gunnar Nelson. Excuse me. Just wanting to see him win, wanting to see him advance. Because I've already seen Demian Maia. I've already seen him, go against Silva. I've seen him rise to the top and not be able to get that. So my brain wants to see somebody new rise to the top. And maybe that's why I picked him a little more than Demian Maia. But I was quickly reminded that, like you said, he is top of the class and just proved it that night. And he was number 5 going into it now. Does this win put him at 4 now? Top 3? I don't think so yet. It's what do you do with him? But that was a big win and a big win for him over Gunnar Nelson.
And I would say he's probably in a horrible spot, because if you're the UFC and Dana White, you probably don't want to push him because you're a little bit scared that he's going to end up winning. And it's sad to say for him, but he isn't quite as marketable as some of the other people at the top of the division, and you're kind of forced into giving him somewhat of a push at this point. And I mean, like I said, it's no disrespect to him because he's a monster in there, but if you're looking at it from a promotion standpoint, you really didn't want him to win that fight, and especially to win it in the convincing fashion that he did. He's almost deserving of moving into that that top 3 category for the division, and I know they don't want to do that.
Right. One more low kick, and I guess we could have given a high kick to the other person in this low kick, but the Paige VanZandt, Paige gets the I don't know why I just called her that, like we're friends. If she's watching this, probably saying like, don't call me that, you don't know me.
She's pretty cool with Dana. Did you see that? I saw like a vine of Dana like checking out her scar, and she's just kind of like, this look kind of weird. Go on Twitter, go on YouTube, and look up Dana White and Paige VanZandt, a post-fight at the press conference, and she comes and sits down, and he sort of grabs her chin, and she's kind of like, it's just a little.
Was he like putting his finger in the cut?
No, he didn't put his finger in the cut, but he just sort of gently caressed her chin, just like. See, I can't even touch his chin.
Say, is this happening right now? He's even freeze. Okay.
It was for the audience. I was going to demonstrate for the audience.
We got it, man. You guys get it?
You got it.
We got it. Yep.
Let's move on quickly.
Paige VanZandt lost to Rose Namajunas. We could give Rose Namajunas the high kick too. I don't know why I didn't. There's still so much going on. God, man. Dominant win for Rose. Jesus, that's the Rose that, like, I guess everybody's been waiting to see. We've seen shades of it before, but God, man, that was probably one of the bloodiest fights of the year, I would say. There was nothing Paige could do. And very humble in her loss too. Just said, I'm too new. I've got a lot to learn, and that's exactly right. But a lot of talk about the mismatch going into this with the two. I feel like that's also the UFC's fault for marketing Paige the way they did. They marketed her up, talked her up, and then when Rose stepped in, we all thought like, well, this is not going to go very well for Paige, and it went about exactly as everybody thought it was going to go.
Yeah, it was one of those fights where if you were a savvy MMA person or a savvy MMA watcher, you knew exactly how that was going to go. I don't think, and this is no shade at Rose at all, because she was very impressive. But I don't think that her win really means that much because Paige just isn't that good.
Yeah.
And she came in and dominated a fight against someone who she should have came in and dominated a fight against. Like I said, no disrespect or anything to Rose because she did what she needed to do. It's like me deciding to play basketball against LeBron James. If LeBron doesn't beat me, 21-0, it's a minor upset. So going into that fight, I kind of expected Paige to get completely destroyed, and that's exactly what happened. But I do have to give Paige credit for the heart that she showed in that fight, and I know we watched it together. And there were certain times where she just kind of had the weird, crazy look in her eye. Like, I kind of like the taste of my own blood kind of look. And
it was
kind of cool, though.
It was when she stood up, maybe after round 1 or 2, and just kind of strutted back to the corner, all bloody. We're like, she looks like she could have damn near skipped, and it would have worked. Like, la la la, like just get like bloody face.
Yeah.
And there was multiple times too we were watching her arm get torqued like Miesha Tate did for Ronda Rousey, just bent all out of hell, rear naked choke. What does that say too? That Rose had about 4 or 5 submissions, being the submission artist that she is, couldn't finish Paige. I don't know if that says more to Paige's tenacity to not get it or to Rose's lack of
ability to
it
finish.
Yeah, like I'm not sure. So I have to watch that again and see. But man, that fight was great too.
It was.
But the low kick definitely. I'm gonna stick with it to Paige VanZandt, and it's not her fault, I guess. But the hype train was too big for Paige, and this definitely derailed it a little bit. And that might be a good thing. That might be a good thing for her, for them to pump the brakes a little bit, let her grow on her own a little bit, and market herself, and earn some wins, and that be the reason why we're talking about her. Not because she looks like the girl next door or whatever. Let's talk about her because she's winning some fights. So that's why we did that. Low kick. You ready to do the bull kick?
100% ready to do the bull kick.
This is our favorite section. If this is your guys' first time once again watching it, this is the time we just talk shit about something that happened this weekend that was very obvious and stupid, dumb and bull kickish. Yes. And this one right here, this kick right here. Ooh. UFC referee Mark Smith for standing up Sage Northcutt and Cody Pfister when Pfister was mid-punch in the fight. That completely changed the course of the fight. Northcutt went to go on to win. I've never seen that. We were watching that together too. Let's do a little backstory. Obviously, we all know that the UFC is pumping up Sage Northcutt, but this was I couldn't believe this. Unbelievable. I've never seen a fight stood up when somebody was on top, ground and pounding. He was, if you go back and watch it, he was mid-punch, and he stood him up. And the crowd booed. I don't know. What do you think?
Yeah, the crowd booed. Twitter exploded. It was one of those things where I looked at you in shock, and then I said, "What the fuck was that?" Like it was one of those moments where you just like, why are you stopping it? And you have to wonder if like Dana hit like a red button in his pocket and said, "Oh, we can't have this happen. Stop the fight. Stop it. Do something." But I'm only halfway joking with that. But I didn't understand it at the time, and there's no justification. There's no reason that you look at that. And I mean, there's certain times where it's kind of questionable, and you stand guys up when they're not working. But he wasn't just working; he was in mid punch. And you said, "Oh no, stand it up!" Like there's not enough action going on.
And I had to watch it a couple more times myself. They both stood up, and nobody really argued it. Like even Cody Pfister, I give so much credit to him. He didn't complain about it. He didn't talk shit to the referee. He didn't even look upset about being stood up. He was like, "Okay, you stand me up," and then immediately got huge double leg takedown from Northcutt. And I read some stuff today too, just because I was trying to Google if anything happened to Mark Smith, if he got fined, if he got talked to. And I couldn't find anything yet. But I was seeing that some people said, well, it would have been more of a controversy if Northcutt would have won in that round. But since it went to round 2, it's less of a controversy. I don't agree with that at all. I think that once again it did change the course of the fight. The momentum is everything in the fight. Pfister, what we were even saying, he was dominating Northcutt at that point, and he had been for about 2 minutes. So, had he have been let go that less 1 minute and 20 seconds, who knows what would have happened? Right.
We could have seen him, work that into a submission. It could have ended up being a 10-8 round, anything. Yeah. After that round, the round ended and they had their chances to come back, but like you said, momentum is a thing. I've heard a lot of people say that momentum in sports doesn't exist and that it's just a talent thing. No, there are so many intangibles. Second time I use intangibles today. But there are so many intangibles that go into sports that you cannot say that, something like that isn't real, because it is. When you go in and if that round would have ended with Pfister on top, who's to say that Northcutt wouldn't have had or would have had the energy to finish the fight the way he did? Because, you add another minute and a half or however much time was left in that round, and, you're out there battling. And I'm guaranteeing you that Pfister is the one that's going to be able to conserve energy at that point in time. So it just left a sour taste in my mouth, and there really isn't anything that, Northcutt did wrong. Of course, he took advantage of it, which a smart fighter is going to be able to do. I think that he's a talented fighter who's 19 years old, who needs a ton of seasoning and needs a ton of work. And I think if he faces anybody else who is a solid wrestler or anybody in the top 15, top 10 of his division, he's going to get destroyed.
They won't do that now. Having seen what happened the first half of the round from Cody Pfister, somebody who's pretty much under the radar, not a lot of people know, they will not give him somebody huge his next fight. So we'll have to see. I'm excited to see him fight somebody new. I want to see him fight somebody new and good. I want a partial name, a good name, and I want to see what he does. And I don't think I'm going to get that though yet.
No, not yet. And it's one of those things where this is deserving of the bull kick because of the hype going into it and the hype for Northcutt. It was one of those situations where you just wish that he was going to fight somebody, and if he would have came out, if he would have came out in that second round and had that stand-up had never occurred, and he came out in that second round and won the way he won, I don't think it would be bull kick worthy. But because that happened, you just had that feeling, or at least I know I had that feeling pretty much the entire time that something weird was going to happen, and that somehow he was going to get the advantage some way. And that's exactly what happened. And it just leaves that sort of bitter taste in your mouth, like, man, I wanted to see this kid if he's really the goods. And I think that it sort of leaves a little bit of a question mark, but more so, he's not quite ready yet.
Yeah. What do you guys think? Bull kick or not? Do you think that stand-up messed up the rest of the fight? Do you agree with what a lot of people are saying now, that even though it wasn't, he didn't win in that round, he won the second round after that, it doesn't really matter? What do you guys think? We really definitely want to hear what you guys think. And like we said, kickandmakeup.com, Facebook group page, at Kick and Makeup on Twitter. Just scroll on down the comments at YouTube, and we got a lot of comments last time, so definitely keep those going. And we'll just keep talking about this, man, this week. So, like I said at the beginning of the show, it's fight week again. It's like a mini fight week, I guess. If last week was
Little
like fight week, this is like fight week. We're like, just one fight we gotta watch on Saturday night. Nothing Thursday, Friday, no Sunday. UFC on Fox. It's gonna be great, man. This is a phenomenal card. I would expect them to just have an okay card after all the fights this weekend, but they are still coming out swinging with this card. Lightweight title fight. Champion Rafael dos Anjos will take on Donald Cowboy Cerrone. Cerrone's last loss was to dos Anjos, which is pretty interesting. Since then, he's won 8 in a row. And then we all know that dos Anjos dominated for the title win over Anthony Pettis in March. I've got dos Anjos. I'll just start off saying I've got dos Anjos. If he fights like he fought against Pettis, there isn't a leg kick in the world that Cerrone's going to throw that's going to be big enough to stop just the dominant presence of dos Anjos. And I probably wouldn't have said that before watching the Pettis fight. But there was some other dos Anjos that we watched for the Pettis fight, and it's just too much. It's going to be, if that one comes out and stop Pettis like that, it's for sure going to stop Cerrone like that.
Yeah, the contrarian in me wants to go with Cerrone just so I can say that I'm trying to be different from you. But no, I mean, just looking at the skill levels And it's been a great rise and a great story with Cowboy Cerrone. I want him to win. I really do. But I don't think talent-wise he's good enough to take on, like you said, the Dos Anjos that was shown when he destroyed, Pettis. And that was, talking about upsets, that was a ridiculous upset. And just to see him come in and completely outclass Pettis the way he did, I don't think Cerrone stands a chance if you get that same sort of fighter.
Yeah, and I love Cerrone too. I've been a huge fan. You and I have been a huge fan. We've seen him fight live a couple times, and I want him to be champion too. I just don't. He's got that thing, almost like the Uriah Faber syndrome, when he just works his way up to the top and just can't finish. He's fought Pettis before. He's gotten there before, and he just can't finish it. Can't seal the deal. And I think that's what's going to happen on Saturday night. The heavyweight fight, I am extremely excited to watch this. It's been a long time since I've been really excited about a heavyweight fight. I'm a huge Alistair Overeem fan. I have been for a while. Number 2, Junior Dos Santos, he's facing him. Alistair Overeem, ranked number 9. Junior Dos Santos, ranked number 2. So this is going to be a big fight for Overeem if he wins. Since losing the title in 2012, Dos Santos, is 2-2. Overeem is coming off of 2 wins, but it's still 3-3 in his last 6 fights, so it's pretty even. 2-2, 3-3. We're seeing a smaller Overeem for sure. I don't know if you've seen any pictures or videos or clips of what Overeem looks like now. Is it mini Reem? I mean, it's half Reem.
Little Reem.
Yeah. Man, under Reem.
Under Reem.
Man. So that I don't know. I still think, after watching the Cain Velasquez fights with Dos Santos and how bloody wars, I think Dos Santos is a different fighter now, and I still think Overeem's gonna come in and do some heavy shots still, and just for some reason get the win over Dos Santos.
This is about as much of a toss-up for me. I'm gonna go with Dos Santos. I don't think that I think Overeem had his chance. I really do. I think he had his opportunity and wasn't able to take advantage of that. And at this point in his career, the mini Overeem in any other division, I would think would probably be okay. But in this one, it kind of makes me nervous about him. And I kind of wonder why he decided to sort of cut the weight a little bit. But who knows? If that equates into a better cardio for him, I think that'll be a good thing. But
it's cute how you said cut the weight, because that's why he's smaller, because you cut the weight. Comments below. Comments below. I think that might be. I think that might be an advantage for him too. He's healthier now.
It could be.
I think he's healthier now. I think he's going to be quicker. I think as a kickboxer like he is, you don't have to be huge and muscular to still deliver those whipping kicks off. And I think if he's more crisp and lighter on his feet, those kicks they're going to come in faster now. They're still going to have all the power that they had before, but they're coming in faster, and that's dangerous when Overeem is whipping off those kicks. And I just see one of those. I predict one of those head kicks landing.
See,
for some reason.
I think I've just been too disappointed.
I'm picking it by head kick, knockout by head kick.
Wow.
I'm going that
Stamp
far.
it. Stamp it. Yeah, there you go.
KAMU stamp.
Yeah, I really feel like I've been disappointed with Overeem in the past, and I just can't get behind him right now. So we'll see. We'll see. Might have more crow.
I don't know. We got some disagreeing for once.
Yeah, I know.
Good job, man.
We're getting back to our norm. This is our norm.
Right, where we just kind of look at each other with dismay and talk shit to each other. So lightweights, the next one after this, Michael Johnson, ranked number 5, versus Nate Diaz, number 14. Diaz has been gone for a year. Johnson's coming off a loss in August, but then won 4 before that. Like I said, Diaz hasn't fought in a year. He's 1-3 in his last 4. Diaz is like the face of Fox.
Yeah.
He's like the UFC out Fox guy. People like him. People know him. I like watching him fight. He's fun to watch. I think he's nicer now. Hearing his interviews too, he's a lot nicer now, which is kind of not cool. I like seeing that. I just think this one's very, very much mismatched as well. Michael Johnson's been on a big tear. Nate Diaz definitely can out-wrestle at all. So they're putting up one of the bigger, best wrestlers, I think, in the division right now with Michael Johnson. he's, like I said, he's been doing so much better. I get why they're doing this, but I think it's an obvious win for Michael Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, seeing it on paper, I think it's a really easy win for Johnson, and you just have to hope that there's some Diaz magic left somewhere that he can pull off something that he hasn't done. But I think Diaz is really on a decline at this point in time, and this might be, I don't know how long his UFC contract is, but this might be about it for him.
Yeah, I like the Diaz two brothers. I mean, I like watching them fight. They're fun to fight, but I just think that like I said, it's an easy win because of styles. Stylistically, that's why. It's not any because Diaz is a phenomenal fighter still, and you put him up against another person, it might be a little closer. But this one in particular, it's so obvious that Diaz has seen he can't not get taken down. He has no takedown defense at all. So Johnson, I'm picturing him just shooting for a takedown in the first 20 seconds, and then it just staying on the ground. And that may be what Diaz might want to play into, as he's such a good jiu-jitsu practitioner, black belt. But I don't think still, though, I think the size and the strength is just going to be too much for him, and we're going to see that. So, that's a great night of fights, too. Just those 3 fights alone. There's a few others on the card that night, too, for free as well. Again, I mean, if you notice that most of the fights this week were either free, $10 on Fight Pass. UFC is really, I think, listening to what they said, what we all said a year ago. Like we're gonna say it again. Like people were mad that there were too many fights and that there were too many UFC pay-per-views and there weren't enough good fights on Fox Sports 1. Or UFC Fight Pass was getting the crap fights, and that after this weekend, that's just not the case.
Right.
You had Aldo and Mendes and Edgar free on Fox Sports 1 on cable. You had Namajunas and VanZandt headlining Fight Pass. I mean, you can't say that anymore. And then you turn around 1 week later, you've got another title fight for the lightweight division, which is one of the most exciting divisions right now. You just can't say, I can't say anything bad about them right now.
Nope.
They're listening to the fans. They're delivering in good fights. They're making fights that mean something and matter for the most part. And that's great. It's great to be a fan. Like you said last time, it's good to be a fan right now. This
will be a little bit of a preview of what I'm going to say when we do our year-end show, but I'm really interested to see what UFC decides to do for 2016 with so many fights and so many fighters sort of going to be on hold until UFC 200. So what are you going to fill that 6-month span with until we get to July? Like you got a lot of time there, so you're going to have to show some things during that point.
GSP versus Anderson Silva.
Oh God.
March 19.
Oh God.
Out of retirement.
Oh.
There's been talks.
Can I give that a bull kick right now? I mean, but no. That's a marketable fight. That leaves a lot of questions. It's not like the Bellator 149 one that we shat on the other day. But
what else do you do?
Yeah.
I guess what else do you do in March or April? There's not. What's going to be going on? The return of John Jones. This is another topic for later. Because I just want to go off right now, but I'm not going to. So we got more to talk about, man. We got some good stuff. We're not gonna just do it right now. Man, I could go on forever. So yeah, what do you guys think? What's on the rise for UFC? What's Bellator gonna do? We're gonna talk about all this the next few shows. We're gonna do our year-end show. Then we're gonna do our 2016 preview. See what Bellator is been up to. See what Invicta, they've got a card coming up beginning of the year. We want to make sure all these. This is not just a UFC show. This is an MMA show. But I mean, God, after this weekend, it's a UFC show after what they do.
Oh, definitely.
But there's definitely other stuff coming up in different leagues, and we want to make sure and talk about those too. Just as long as there's stuff that's interesting and good to talk about in those leagues, we will definitely cover. I think that's it, man. We got to get some shout-outs, though, right?
Yeah, I got a whole list of shout-outs, and I think I'm going to start giving away an award. I'm going to call it the Kick and Makeup Bull Kick Commenter of the Week. And I guess in this one, I might find a different name for it, but we're going to go with Bull Kick this week, but not because it was bad thing. Bull Kick in this term is going to be good because you kick ass and you made a good comment. So right. I'm going to go through, first off on YouTube, we had KJ Enriquez 16, Big Boo, Mr. JJ Reed, Tanner Duncan, Cody Davis, Chicas and the Homies. Like them. It's a good show. Check their channel out. It's really good. On Twitter, we had at LHefe72, at Sugar Ray 22, at Jacob Riggs, at All That MMA, at MMA Hangouts, at no_can_defense, at Barker John.
Bacajon? Depends on if it's Spanish. I don't
Could
know.
be. Could be. I didn't even think about that. At Amy Dardashtian. I knew I was going to mess that up. Big shout out to her for following. And at, what would you call that last one? At Felton
Silva 14.
Silva 14? Okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got it.
So I said I was going to give all you guys shout outs. There's your shout outs. But the Kick and Make Up, can I get a drum roll? Kick and Make Up BullKick commenter of the week is none other than Tanner Duncan from YouTube. If you want to see his comment, go check it out. Big shout out to him. He's a local guy too. So big shout out to everybody for contributing and helping us get to those 4,000 hits and dropping comments. We love that. We love to talk, man. If you can't see, we're like 50 some odd minutes into the show at this point, and we like to talk. So
I got 50
why
more
wouldn't you want
minutes,
to talk
man.
more?
We gotta zip it up.
We got to
man.
cut ourselves short. I'm sure the analog people want to get us out of the way so that they can play some more games.
Yeah, we are definitely blocking just one game in here. Just
And I've
one.
seen people come over there like twist the handles, and then they look at us and they're like,
You guys done yet? You guys
I'll
done
come
yet?
back
So
later.
We are done. Big thank you to our sponsor, Neon Energy Drink, www.neonenergydrink.com. Check them out. Awesome website. Tons of links and contacts on there to get a hold of them, see what they're all about. Special thank you to Analog Arcade Bar down here, 302 Brady Street, Davenport, Iowa. Get down here, play some games, bring a toy this week. Check out some of their good deals. Man, love this place. Big thank you to everybody here. And, man, to you too, JD,
Yes.
Dorsey,
Yes.
American Hybrid, Nick Cunningham. www.kickandmakeup is the website. At Kick and Makeup at Twitter. At Hybrid MMA at Twitter. Instagram, YouTube, Periscope coming soon.
Yes. Snapchat coming soon?
Okay, that's all you. I don't know, man.
It's too much at this point. Like
There's a
we're
lot.
everywhere and it's
Yeah,
hard. Like,
yeah.
Okay.
But yeah, Snapchat.
I want to talk about
Snapchat
this
coming soon.
because I got a little beef about this. Like Facebook, I don't like Facebook anymore. It's kind of old, kind of stale. But just to manage and keep up with all of these accounts is kind of annoying. So, yeah. But I like to do it and I like to talk to people. So make sure you reach out and follow us everywhere, stalk us. We kind of like it. You can show up here, see there's space back there, there's chairs. People come watch the show.
See these chairs? We'll be pulling up the chairs.
Right,
Last week I
right.
said you could come sit on my lap.
Yeah.
You cannot come sit on my lap on this show, but we
No.
will pull a chair up for you right here.
My
Just wanna
lap
get that
is available. His isn't.
clear. Mine is not. No can lappy. All right. American Hybrid Nick Cunningham, Jeremy JD Dorsey. Remember, don't solve it in the streets. Take it to the cage and kick and make up.